Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. I'm hosting again. It's transfer deadline day, and we are joined by what is a full house. It might not look like a full house to you right now. However, I have Harry, Craig, and Liam with me, and I am delighted to say that Hibs look like we're signing absolutely fucking no one. So this is going from a transfer deadline episode to a normal episode to God knows what. How you doing, Craig?
I'm all good, mate. Yep, all good. Hibs won at the weekend again, so life's good at the moment.
Happy days, happy days. Harry, last podcast for you before you go off on your travels. You have caused us to be live. There's already been some issues presented with that and delaying our episode at the start. Plenty of the guys are complaining. So do you want to explain yourself?
Aye, so essentially, lads, the when leaving work, had to give in the old laptop which I've been using for the podcast for the last 4 years. And my laptop, which has very clearly got a camera, has decided it's not got a camera on it. So, in the most specky way possible, I'm sorry, lads, but Hibs are good, Harry's good. That's the main thing.
Fantastic, Liam. I know this is your least favourite part of the podcast. So did you enjoy your day on Saturday? Hibs absolutely papped Aberdeen off fairly comfortably and kept winning ways going.
I did. I know. I did. I enjoyed Saturday. There was something very routine about Saturday. It's nice being in routine of going to the football and watching your team win.
Mhm.
Something that I won't be taking for granted anytime soon.
I think that's did you touched on it last week, didn't you, when you spoke about
Aye.
how rare this sort of run has been over the last sort of 30 odd years or whatever. For Hibs, I think it was over your lifetime, wasn't it, that you'd looked back on. Like, I made the comment as we're coming out of the stadium. It's just good when your team's good, isn't it? I know it's just the most like easy thing in the world, and it definitely impacts your mood more than it should when things are going good or bad. But it is a very, very good feeling. Craig, where would you like to take us? Talk to me about something from the game on Saturday. The floor is yours. Where would you like to start?
Oh, fucking hell, that's a bit of pressure, that. I'll just start with the main man that everybody's talking about sort of last couple of weeks, Triantis. Uh, Obviously gets the first goal, what was it, 25 minutes, around that sort of mark. But I thought he was superb over the game again.
Hmm.
Really enjoying him sort of picking the ball up in the pockets, which is something that we all kind of identified when he come back in, especially after the sort of first couple of games. Kilmarnock, definitely, I remember he was superb in that. And I was just enjoying him picking the ball up, driving, uh, and sort of turning out. I know he got caught once,
Hmm.
but I know me and Harry discussed it at the game. We were kind of saying that I feel like a player like him, who probably tries that quite a few times a game, he's going to get caught every now and then. But yeah, that's no, I thought he was superb overall, to be fair.
Yeah, Liam Chianti that goal was probably came at the end of sort of Hibs' first spell of any sort of attacking pressure in the game. It wasn't exactly the fastest start of the game, but the goal was absolutely crucial, wasn't it?
I know it was important. I think another goal from a set piece, another goal which is created by Josh Campbell's aerial prowess that we've spoken about quite a few times in recent weeks. Just all in all, a very, I think an important scored at an important point of the game. Probably not quite as important in terms of timing as the second goal, because the second goal eventually really kind of kills the game off as a contest. But
Hmm.
I know it was obviously a game state of the game, but it was fairly even. And I think scoring first against teams like Aberdeen and the sort of mode that they're in at the moment is important.
Yeah, Harry, are you finished fucking about here and actually ready to start talking, or
Is the audio sounding all right or
that
no?
sounds alright, mate? Aye.
Come on. Sorry, lads, that was an absolute fluff. I've actually managed to listen to everything you've said, so I'm up to speed.
First home game for a while for you and last of the season before you disappear. Overall vibes, happy leaving the ground and feeling
Can
good.
I get a bit of credit, guys? Considering the start of the season, I've managed to not come to a defeat in the entire season. I've been to like 8 games and we've actually not lost one of them. So I actually think that's pretty good going. And
That sounds to me, Craig, like he only shows up when the times are good, and then when it was
Happy
shite.
clapper, fair weather fan.
that's it. And as I said at the start of the season, I've kept on saying we need to live with set piece HSE. It's where our strengths are, and proved once again that we're just very good at them. Can we just, by the way, it's something that went underappreciated this season. Martin Boyle's deliveries at corners are actually pretty solid. Like, that was a delightful ball to the back post for that goal.
Yeah. Something that in years gone by when I would see Martin Boyle taking a corner, but oh fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of, and Joe Neal's kind of been the same, but I don't know about you guys. Like it felt like to me the game probably never. I never had loads of talking points. I don't. Would you agree? Like, I think Hibs were entirely comfortable, Liam, without the ball. Just like Harry sort of said at the start of the season, where teams would let us have the ball because we weren't going to do anything. Did you feel like we were doing that with Aberdeen? Like we were quite happy in our shape?
I did. I did. I think the only time they really had any joy, and I wouldn't describe it as particularly joyful for them, was sort of Keskinen down the left hand side was occasionally sort of managing to get by either Cadden or O'Hora who come across, but then the ball in usually, in fact, I think always kind of resulted in nothing.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing when you're playing a team who is that devoid of confidence. You know, they've got the ball, but it's really about what they can do with it that ultimately dictates how their season's going to end up. You know, whether or
Yeah.
not they're going to be able to turn it around or not.
Would you have liked to see Hibs be a little bit more front-footed, like as the game was going on, or like in early doors? Were you surprised at how we approached it?
I just
Or
want to win games, mate.
aye,
I just I just want to win games, mate. I had a whole this like, approach to games at home versus away from home. Like, we're 10 unbeaten. Actually, at this point, I don't even really care how we do it.
no, your spot, yeah, like that is more on the
Just
correct.
enjoy it, man. Just
Aye,
fucking enjoy it.
absolutely. Craig, the second half brought us probably more highlights than the first half. Hibs scored a fantastic goal. It was a great ball in from Chris Cadden to find his twin, and unfortunately, it initially got ruled out for offside. But wing back to wing back, is that something that you'd want to see more going forward?
So I'd like I'd like to see definitely people finishing off Chris Cadden's crosses a lot more. I think sort of over the past couple of years when he's been at Hibs, there's been a lot of balls that he's put in the box, uh, like good balls that have just gone completely awry, like just nobody there to tap it in.
Hmm.
And I thought it was quite encouraging to see the weekend there. There was sort of three different players that were potentially going to get in. And obviously, Gale's nowhere near it, but
Hmm.
at least he's in the right sort of area. Then Boyle has a go, and then obviously Nicky Cadden comes into the back post and sticks it in. What a ball! Really, really, really good ball.
Hmm.
And actually quite a smart finish for Nicky, to be honest, because it bounces up on him. And I think that's one of these ones that obviously, yes, he absolutely should score, but I think it's probably quite an easy one to lose control of when the ball's coming at you that fast.
Hmm.
Uh, Good finish, and then obviously gets disallowed. And I don't understand why there's such a long wait for that goal to be confirmed, because when you see it back, it is literally just a case of the lines being drawn on. I
Hmm.
thought initially at the time they were waiting to see whether, or maybe Gale was in offside position, they were waiting to see whether he influenced it or not. But obviously when he's onside afterwards, you're kind of like, why we had to wait there?
Yeah.
But no, that was a great goal.
Guys, we kind of didn't want to go through the game probably as much as we are currently, given that we thought we were going to have a lot more transfer activity to talk about. But it would be a miss, Harry, not to be talking about a former striker that played a good half hour, 40 minutes at the weekend. That boy, oh boy, that was bad, wasn't it?
Aye, if you've ever been near me or with me at a football game, you know I do like to try and target one opposition player and try and wind them up. It's normally stuff that's not very harmful but sounds daft enough that if they hear it, they'll get annoyed. And Agent Nisbet is what I was shouting while I was walking down the stairs. Fair play to Aberdeen for going to clap the fans at the end, but really a bit bizarre.
Oh, that was hilarious, mate.
Yeah, like there's some quality memes going to that. But as me and Craig were going down the stairs, Craig was saying some not as kind things as just Agent Nisbet. But at one point, he shot a look over at us. So it's just good to know when you try and get into someone's head, you actually do. But yeah, obviously started the season off pretty well, but it's been a bit of a disaster for him since.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was one of those days, where nothing comes off for you. It was that shot that went about 30 yards over the bar. Just kind of summarised his day.
Does it feel like a bullet dodge, Craig? Not that I think that. the sort of chat is that Hibs weren't really interested, and I can't imagine that Kevin is, but would have been all that interested with the way he left last time. But had it been a player that would, I mean, hands up in the summer, I said to you guys, I don't know if I said it on podcast, but I definitely said it to you guys in the chat that if he was coming back to Scotland, it should be play for Hibs. Like, does it feel like a bullet dodged?
Definitely does now because he's in stinking form.
Mhm.
I genuinely cannot remember whether I was in favour of Hibs signing him at the time or not. So I'm just going to assume I wasn't and I was correct.
Mhm.
So yeah, the guy just looks devoid of any confidence. As usual, well, sort of saying as usual, when he was at Hibs, we've seen multiple spells of it. Over what was it, Hibs, a couple of years, where his
Uh-huh.
attitude just looks terrible. Like the body language is shocking. If you're an Aberdeen fan, I know there's when he slices that ball over, and then there was another one as well that he done something wrong. I think maybe just kicked out to play for a goal kick. And Aberdeen fans were absolutely going mental at him.
Was that when he first,
Uh,
like he'd only been on like a minute and he's like the half
yeah,
thought, oh my God, that was
and
hilarious.
I feel like his stock, if he's not careful at Aberdeen, could just plummet rapidly if it's not
Hmm.
already doing so. Obviously, the run they're on, and then if you have players that kind of look like they're like head
Phoning
down,
in a bit.
shoulders down, and just no so good attitude when that you would expect when you're in a situation like Aberdeen are just now.
Uh-huh. Liam, any other highlights or individuals that you'd want to call out from the weekend's game?
I thought Rocky Bashiri had a really good game. I just thought he sort of he was up against obviously Guay in the sort of the earlier part of the game. I just thought he just handled that contest really well. He's someone that I think's caused quite a lot of defensive problems earlier on in the season, but he dealt with everything very manfully in a very sort of rocky kind of way. He seemed to quite enjoy the contest as well, which he does like getting into a wee one-to-one battle with players sometimes. It's always nice when your player comes out on top when that
Yeah.
happens. So I was really impressed with Rocky. Um, don't think there are any others. I mean, I think Bowie certainly in his sort of cameo had that one really good moment where he set up Martin Boyle ultimately for what
Yeah, yeah.
was a really good chance. And I think if you're going to be hypercritical of Boyle, you'd say he probably should have made it 3-0 in that
Oh,
situation.
Mm.
Liam, that's kind. That's kind, mate.
Just think, it's one of those ones where you're fairly central to the goal. You've got the option of rounding him. You've got the option of going through the legs as well on either corner. And I don't know. It looked to me. I've actually not seen it back. It looked to me like he kind of just got caught in two minds about what he was going to do. But no, I think those were the key things for me.
Yeah, one player that I want to highlight, and we're going to be without Harry for a few months, so he was having a pop at Jordan Smith at halftime, perhaps unjustly. I felt. I don't get me wrong, I thought Smith maybe looked like he was a bit lacking some confidence, maybe after the penalty got given against him last week in the first half, a bit slow to come out for things, and can remember one instance where maybe it was Chiantis ended up sort of not they didn't collide, but you end up putting out for a corner because Smith was a bit hesitant and stuff. But in the second half, I thought he was excellent. I mean, not that he had any big saves or anything to make, but we've spoke about it enough times on here about like relieving the pressure and coming and collecting crosses and stuff like that. And I thought in the second half he done that superbly, and then even the one that he opted to punch. Got a good fist on that, and when you compare that to his performance in his first game for us against the same opposition. Was it Aberdeen's second goal came from him flapping it across that sort of got stuck right underneath it. I was actually really impressed with like his performance in the second half, and myself and Harry walking down to the game and spoke about had he had a performance yet that made you feel like he was a number one. And I felt like the way he played in the second half at the weekend was probably his best spell, at least as a Hibs goalkeeper, and for me, definitely gave me a lot more confidence in running with him till the end of the season.
No,
There
you've
was
done
one.
that. Sorry, Liam, just because I got thrown under the bus, I would like to respond. um, it's great because if Ewan had come to me, I was going to say one person that I was, though, two people I was going to call it. I'll say horror after Liam jumped in as well. But on Jordan Smith, I did think that he had a poor first half. I think that twice he could have came for the ball and it put massive pressure on the centre backs when he didn't, which is what I'd put in the group chat. And then second half, the thing that I keep saying about Smith is I do think he's a very good like game manager. He's good at when we need pressure taken off us. He's good at like falling on the ball for 30 seconds.
And then, as Craig's touched on a few times throughout the season, he does seem to be a vocal leader, and he does like kind of shout at the guys and organise them. So I do think that those are some like really good aspects of the game. And his mum being a cheerleader makes me very happy. I don't know if you've seen on Twitter,
I've seen
but
a
she
bit
was
of it, yeah.
absolutely loving it. And I just think that's a nice thing. I think it's good when people are supported. So good on you, Jordan Smith.
Birthday pish, man. Honestly, birthday pish.
The last thing I'll say about him though is the things that we praise him for still aren't like goalkeeping. Like I'm yet to have a game in which
I don't know about coming from. Like, I think his second half performance was a lot.
Did he make a save?
There was one in particular when it was flashed across the block at speed from the left-hand side. He got down to it really quickly. I think that's the advantage of being a slightly shorter goalie than your average. You know, he gets down to the low ones maybe a wee bit better than the bigger goalies do. But it was flashed into a really dangerous area, and that's when if your goalkeeper doesn't come and take it, causes a whole lot of problems for your defenders. And those are some of the intangibles. I mean, those don't show up in the stats, you know, in terms of XG expected and all that, 'cause it's not a shot, it's a cross into the box, but it's the pressure it relieves on your defenders that's massive. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not anti him either. I'll be honest. I'm disappointed. I know we're going to come on top. I'm disappointed we haven't looked to sign another goalkeeper. I would have felt much more comfortable going and getting one. But I'm not also like panicking that we're running with him for the last 14 games of the season. 13 games of the season, I think it is now.
I don't know if it is too reactionary, and Craig, it'd be good to get your thoughts on this as well. Like, before the game, literally, I would have been like, nah, still think we need a new goalkeeper, but I just feel like I've seen enough definitely in that second half. I disagree with what Harry said in terms of goalkeeper. I think collecting crosses and all that stuff is, I was going to say, almost more important than saving shots because it prevents shots from happening. But do you know, I think coming and collecting multiple balls in the air, crosses, stopping headers and stopping shots, ultimately you're still stopping the ball going in the back of your net. Sorry, Harry, I seen your eyes light up when I said that. I feel more comfy.
Saying a goalkeeper's most important job isn't saving shots. It's fucking lunacy.
You know, no, but I think it's equally as important. Craig, where are you with Jordan Smith?
I think I said it before. So every single week that goes by, I feel a bit more confident in him, and when the ball's near him, I feel less and less nervous now compared to what I did probably post the last Aberdeen game at Easter Road. And I think he's just. I don't think he's a tremendous goalie. Like I don't think he's the greatest goalie that we're ever going to have. Or I also don't think he's the worst goalie we're ever going to have. I think he's just a guy who's in form and is just doing the basics right at the moment. Well, and we all said that earlier on. I don't know if it was at the start of the transfer window or sort of before the transfer window. We all said, look, ultimately to be a good goalie in this league, you just need to be semi-competent and I'm not saying that he's only semi-competent, but just be doing the basics right and don't make any howlers, and you'll 9 times out of 10 you'll be all right. And he's making better decisions now as well. Even cross comes into the box at the weekend, a lot of goalies look to catch it. But actually, and which frustrates me sometimes that they don't catch it more often. But he made the right decision, punched it out, got a good solid fist on it, and relieved a bit of pressure. So I probably, even at the game, I disagreed slightly with Harry's sort of level of concern about Smith's performance. I don't think the hype is quite accurate to the performance levels that he's producing. But
so he's
asked much.
I'm just having a wee look at some quick goalkeeper stats here that I think do hold relevance, Harry. And, like sometimes we're quite bad for just throwing out random stuff. But in the league, save percentage, he's third, 72.7%. Saves per 90 minutes, he's second with 3.3 saves. And then even on goals prevented, considering he's only played half the season, he's fifth with only Walton, Oxborough, Mitov and Schmeichel above him. So across the board, across the statistics, only Schmeichel and Jack Walton are sort of outperforming him, which I think is perhaps, is that potentially show that we've maybe been too critical of him up to this week, or do you think we've sort of got the mood music right?
I think that Jordan Smith is a fine backup goalkeeper, and I was more uncomfortable with him playing 10, 15 games. Ideally, I didn't want to come into the second half of the season with him as number one. I think, again, I take back what I said. I thought he initially, based off the first 2 or 3 times I'd seen him, I didn't think he was good enough to be at the club. I definitely think he's proven that he's more than that. But I think if we were to go into the summer, I do think that goalkeeper is now going to be an area that we're definitely looking to improve on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's doing a good job. And as I say, he's not doing anything wrong so far. But It's just because I've not seen him like make a few saves. Like as I said to you when we were walking to the game, like I just don't think, the way that Marciano would, like, if you leave the game, you think that he'd like single handedly got us points at times. Like,
hmm
I just don't think he's at that level, which I know he's probably never going to be. But that's kind of my point. I'm not saying that he's shit, and I'm probably being harsh based off still being a bit nervous off those first few mistakes in the first few games. But overall, he should be praised because he is doing his job and he's doing it well.
Has
Yeah,
had the opportunity to win us points though yet, Arya? I don't know if we've been in a situation where like he's
Yeah, like
really
that's a valid
been
point,
able
but
to.
I don't think he should be praised for that.
couple good saves against Ross County, even I think at the point where we were 1-0 down. But anyhow, couple different comments about Jordan Smith and his general performances in the chat. Dave Smith is decent for a wee guy. He's never 6 foot, source standing next to him. Jane Sandy's 6 foot and 1 inch according to Wikipedia. Also highlight that he's made 37 saves. Looks like he's turned into a really strong goalkeeper. He's biased. He was a goalkeeper and hung about with footballers. What else have we got in here? Frosty McRambin. I think this might be in reference to something that we either spoke about with Bursick or even it was Jordan Smith. Is he the worst goalkeeper we've had in the last 5 years? No, I think he's probably he might be pushing towards the
Barsic probably
best.
is.
Aye, that's true.
Barsic probably is.
And then Aki mentioned I'd be more than happy for him to be our long-term cup goalkeeper, and Gavin's just came in there saying his distribution's very good as well. Which, to be fair, actually, I thought I again thought he had a really good a good couple like pings out to the wing backs and stuff at the weekend.
He sees when it's on for hand as well with throwouts. Like
Yeah.
I think it's easier in some respects when you've got a wing back because they're just at a nice sort of
Pocket.
like position in the pitch to hit. Particularly if you've got wing backs that are capable of taking it and being able to then go with it. Which the Caddens, to be fair, are they're both quite comfortable just taking a ball into them and bouncing them on or flicking up the line.
Well, you mentioned the Caddens there, Liam, and I know this is supposed to be a transfer episode, but we're not getting a whole lot of that, so we're going to maybe I'm saying I'm going to make us, and you're going to answer my questions. Just talk about a couple of players that are out of contract in the summer while we're in the window, and if
All
they've
right.
done enough now, maybe for us to have a sort of decisive opinion or on whether they should or shouldn't get a new deal. And straight away, the first player for me that comes to mind would be Chris Cadden, and for me, I
Yeah.
think he's more than enough showed that he should be getting a new deal. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts on
so
that?
that's a stone wall eye for me, to be honest. Especially if we're going to continue with this system. There's some people who'd have you believe he's a really bad crosser of the ball, but I think evident again there the weekend that he is a good crosser. He is a very very competent wing back in this league. I would absolutely stick with him and Nicky Cadden
Yeah.
for the foreseeable.
Harry, Craig, what about Chris Cadden? Is it a full house that we'd all want to extend his contract?
Liam's pretty much said everything there. No
Yeah.
one needs to be said. Yep, keep him 100%.
I know this might sound really harsh, but on what Liam said there, if we're going back to the system at the start of the season, I'd maybe I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he looked good whilst we were playing kind of like traditional four at the back. I don't think that he's like good enough at, like, I think the position that he's in is able to get more space on the wing to actually get crosses in, but he was really struggling in one-on-one situations at the start of the season. He seems to have a bit more cover defensively and a bit more support going forward in this system. So for me, I think he's a great team player. So I think in this current system, it suits him a lot better. So as Liam said, if we keep playing like this moving forward, yes. But if Gray wants to scrap the system and go back to what we were trying at the start of the season, then I don't think that he really fits, to be honest.
Yeah. So we're just all going to choose to ignore what Harry said and say that he should get a new deal 3-1 in that eye.
That was just a very long-winded way of saying the same thing I think everyone else has said, to be honest. It's a lot of words.
So then if we were to move sort of across the back line, we're not going to go for every player, but a player that was actually mentioned, was it in the Scotsman this morning about potentially attracting interest elsewhere today, is Rocky Bashiri, a player that, I don't know, maybe other than Youan probably has split opinion over his time at Hibs, maybe more than anyone else. Harry, you can kick us off this time. What do you think of Rocky Bashiri, and if he wanted to sign a new deal, should Hibs be looking to get him tied down?
Yeah, definitely. Since before he started playing, we were
What
absolutely
about
shit.
if we're not
Since
going to? What if we're going back to a flat four and all the context that you give Chris Cadden?
all right, so we can just be dicks. That sounds great. But yeah, before Rocky came into the team, we were in the relegation zone. Since Rocky's came into the team, it's looking like we're in a chase for third. It's obviously not single-handedly down to Rocky, but I do think that he's a leader in this team, and I think that he brings a lot physically. The one thing that he does need to kind of iron out, as Craig points out to me whenever I'm at a game with him, is every single time he loses the ball in the air quite a lot, and it does cause a lot of problems. It happened twice against Rangers. It almost happened at the weekend again. It did kind of happen at the weekend. Happy Hibee got a shot off the back of it, and that's kind of the one real flaw in his game that I think if he kind of snuffs out, I think he could be a really good long-term player for Hibs.
Yeah.
Again, kind of the only thing is, he probably is at the stage where he wants to be a starter week in, week out. And if we've got a fully fit team, I don't know if Gray sees him as that. So maybe from his perspective, he wouldn't want to stay to be a like kind of rotational player. But similar to Smith, I think if he's happy to be a backup and put in a performance when he actually does get in the team, I'd be more than happy to see him extended.
Craig, Liam, any alternate views there on Rocky or?
No, no alternate views, but I think I know what Harry was saying there about him wanting to be a backup or not wanting to be a backup, but I think, to be honest, vast majority of the season you're always going to have one centre half out. It happens.
Yeah.
You always have somebody out, so I think the chances of him playing at least sort of 25 games a season in all comps is quite high. So I would say I could see him playing plenty of games, even if he's not viewed as an out-and-out starter. So I would definitely sign him. He's proven recently how capable he is in this league.
Aye. Liam, another defender that's out, at least off the top of my mind, that's coming out to the end of their contract that's sort of still seeing quite regular minutes in the team is Lewis Miller, another who was actually linked this morning in that Scotsman article with having potential suitors. If someone came in tonight, would you be quite keen to keep a hold of him or move him on, or and then what about a new deal?
I think you have to look at what the state of the sort of nation is at the club where come the end of the season. But I think you're going to have Megwa coming back from his loan at Partick. We're talking that would keep Chris Cadden on. You've got Warren O'Hora for the right centre back role. I think Miller's easiest route to the team is probably right centre back, and I just think that in the market we could get someone better for that position, to be honest, either as a backup or a starter to improve on O'Hora. So I think, despite the fact he has obviously quite a lot of weapons and, has been a player that's been really up and down his year, I wouldn't be averse to just letting Lewis Miller run the contract down, to be honest.
Same with you, Craig. Lewis Miller probably the one that will divide opinion the most.
Yeah, I don't like to agree with everything that's getting said, but I do agree again, to be honest. I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be absolutely fuming if he stayed.
Mhm.
But I think the fact that I'm kind of indifferent about it probably says it all. Like,
Yeah.
I think we can do better.
Well, a couple of comments on the sort of right back position in there. Mark Telfer saying that Cadden should definitely get a new deal. He also mentions Martin Boyle should get a new deal. We'll maybe have a wee bit of discourse on Martin Boyle, who's obviously kind of flying just now. Mark highlights the fact we've also got Rory Whittaker, who obviously played some games last year. Didn't have a great loan spell at Spartans, but you know there does probably come a point in time where you want to keep making sure the opportunity is there for a Megwa for Whitaker after that. Aki said that he wouldn't look to re-sign Lewis Miller. Feels like he just hasn't
No
maybe
surprises there.
developed away.
Not his biggest fan, is he?
No, he was not. He was not. Jane Sandy, they would definitely want to keep Miller. Sorry, Rocky, and Mark says he thinks Miller has more potential, but Calden is more effective. Which I think that's fair.
Aye.
I don't think Hibs would ever sell Chris Cadden until but I think well, if the rumor this morning was to be true, you probably could get a fee for Lewis Miller. But I think that article also said Hibs do have the option on a 1 year trigger.
Aye.
On that, so it'd be interesting to see if we do anything there. The only other player that's been mentioned, I think, is definitely worth talking about is a unfortunately aging Martin Boyle, who obviously earns a good wage at the club as well, but perhaps more than any other player in the team, other than maybe Trent, is part. I think almost single-handedly dragged us onto this running form of his goals and his assists. Has this sort of last couple of months, Harry, done enough for you to say that Martin Boyle should be getting offered another deal at Hibs?
Can I just say I enjoyed it, unfortunately aging as opposed to fortunately aging.
Well,
But
it's unfortunate for us
yeah,
that
no,
he's
I know, I
aging.
know, I know. I just wanted to get back to you. But my thinking as well on Miller as well as Boyle is I think we've been saying pretty much the whole season since the summer that we kind of feel the need for a rebuild. I think as good as Boyle's been, he probably is amongst the high earners, and I don't think that he's going to want to take a massive pay cut. If he can do if he can keep the production that he's doing at the moment. But he's probably after like a 2 year deal, make a decent sum of money before his career ends. I just don't think Hibs. It makes sense for either party, to be honest. I could see him as that guy on the radio said, moving back to Australia, even though he's never been there. But for me, if the finances were right and we could get him on a cheaper deal than he's on, then yes. But I just don't think he's going to go for that. And if we're trying to rebuild, then we can't re-sign every single player when you've actually got a few running down that are in the first team for me. So that's my main thinking around Miller and Boyle. I'd probably, I wouldn't be disappointed in any way to see them extended, especially if the deal was right. But for me, they would be priorities.
I'll change the question into yourself and Craig and Liam. Would you be happy to re-sign Martin Boyle on a 2 year deal on the same terms that he's on just now?
No.
It would have to be reduced terms, shorter length, both.
Reduced terms probably with a year. He's 32 come the end of the season, and his main asset remains his quickness. I don't think you really want to saddle yourself with a kind of 34-year-old on those kind of terms for for an eternity. The number of games he's going to be able to play in as well are probably going to reduce over the next couple of seasons. I think there's something, if we finish this season really well and we have a good end of the season that ends up, at Hampden or success in the league, I think there's just something really nice about him leaving on a high.
Yeah, like it's the right time.
I mean, I don't doubt that he harbours ambitions of going and playing in Australia. He has said that publicly. I think he's been really good for us and he's an important player, but I'm not wedded to him having to be here next season under any circumstances because of the production he's given us in the last few games. I think you have to keep quite an open mind about it.
Craig, where do you land in? Sort of two different opinions.
I would only want to see him if he's going to extend for 1 year. I don't think it makes sense for anybody to extend for more than 1 year. The terms I'm not so bothered about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're ever going to be able to get a guy like him to go down in wages. Having said that, I just don't see him resigning. I think this will be his last sort of few months at Hibs. I think he'll be away to Australia in the summer, and I think it makes sense for everybody, to be fair. For him, his family's still young. They can make the move out there altogether. It's a good quality of life, obviously, and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's the right time.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely more sentimental, shall I say, maybe than like Liam. And I think I just love the thought of let's just keep Martin Boyle, keep him, let's give him another couple of years. But I would actually like him to stay and be productive at Hibs. I mean, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I think he can actually be a very effective and efficient centre forward in the league now with his makeup, albeit that his finish at the weekend maybe didn't display that. We've got some different stuff to do to try and fill the time tonight ahead of what we were hoping was going to be a very, very busy transfer window. Now, maybe just before we jump on to the first one of them, in fact, no, let's go to the first one now, Liam. We've not done a Guess Who for a while. Is it a transfer theme that we have? Is it a January transfer window theme that we have, or?
No, we've done that before, though, haven't we? Maybe if had my thinking cap on earlier, I would have done a wee January transfer window theme. So we'll run with it. We'll do a couple and then we'll maybe go back to cover some of the transfer chat. I am gonna just give you I think of a player and you lot No. How do we do it normally? I give you 5 clues, don't I? That's how I do it.
Yeah.
I think I'm playing. I give you 5 clues, and
I
you've got to
think you're
jump
playing,
in and
you
guess
guys
who they
guess.
are.
Let's see what
So
happens.
listeners can join in as well, but you've got to
Yes.
guess who you think the player is based on the 5 clues. Now, the only thing that this player has to have is they have to have played for Hibs at some point in their career. Have to
Just
have been on the
confirming they have
books
to have
at
had at least
NFC.
one appearance. Like, we're not doing any like sub goalkeepers that never played.
If I want to fucking throw in a sub goalkeeper that's never played, I'll throw in a sub goalkeeper that's never played. All right.
You literally said that it's played for Hibs, so I wanted to double check the
You're
rule.
just reconfirming.
I just
okay.
want to double check one rule because I get really impatient and guess early. If you guess and get it wrong, you're out. Is that correct?
Aye, yeah, you guess and get it wrong, you're right. Okay, so I've got my first player all lined up, teed up, ready to go. The first clue. I was most recently in management with Penrith AFC. I played for a host of clubs in England and in Scotland.
Jamie Insel.
Incorrect. You're out, Craig.
Get him out of here. Fuck off, Craig.
In my youth career, I played for Walsall and West Bromwich Albion. I was a winger or a wing back.
Is that all the clues?
No, one more.
I'll take the last
One more. You ready for the last one?
Mm-hmm.
This is the giveaway, so you're going to shout this and hear this. I made my debut in the 16-17 season against Dundee United.
Conrad Logan. No,
Conrad
wait.
Logan, a
You're
winger,
wing
wing back.
Wing back.
I'm it's the wrong season as well.
It's
Fucking hell.
quite an iconic debut, I would say.
See, I really enjoy playing this game.
Bit of a streets won't forget kind of debut.
I know who it is. Fuck.
Because he was absolutely cooking down the right hand side.
If they didn't get it, can I get back in?
Yeah, you go.
Played for Motherwell as well, Harry.
Chris Humphreys.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Chris Humphrey.
Oh, fair.
Well done to Kevin Wilson, who literally is the only person in the YouTube chat that has got that correct. Was he was a January transfer window signing, I'm sure. I think you've done yourself a disservice there, Liam. I'm sure
So he signed on the 31st of December. So I didn't know if he was a free agent and just signed right before the beginning of the window, or if we signed him on the 31st and he was eligible to play from the 1st, which is why I didn't really want to commit on that one.
Okay, right, got you. Okay. Did he get injured against Hearts in the replay? He was rinsing them, I'm sure.
He did get injured and was just never seen again. Right. Okay.
Scored against Bonnyrigg Girls.
First player now. I'm going to make the clues a wee bit easier on this one because I think you were maybe struggling a wee bit there. The listeners got it, but you were struggling. Okay, so this one. I joined on loan, making 9 appearances and scoring 1 goal.
Okay.
Matthew Hoppy.
No.
Liam's reaction there, I thought he nailed it.
Had to try it.
Oh, did he not get 2? Rangers and Kelly.
I made 5 appearances for England under 19s in 2007.
Okay. Right.
I was a striker, come winger, who finished his career in 2018, having scored 76 goals.
I'm miles off it.
I had someone come to my mind there, but the goals for us would have been wrong.
4th one. Throughout my career, I gained the nickname the Canary Crusher, having scored winning goals in 3 games for Ipswich against Norwich.
Darryl Duffy? No.
Oh. It's going to go down to Harry again. He's got no chance.
I'm out, mate. I get
also, yeah, right, Craig.
Down to Craig.
Right, okay, this is the last clue, Craig, and obviously the last one's usually the biggest clue.
There's no
I
chance.
joined as a loan signing during the 2014 relegation season.
The only one that came to my mind was the boy Haynes or something.
Aye.
Well
That's
done,
exactly
Danny
it.
Is it
Haynes.
him?
Well
Aye.
played, mate.
Oh,
yeah,
by the
Danny
way.
Haynes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hibs
very
Hibs
well
ended up
played.
scoring goals against Norwich, man. What the fuck?
Ipswich must maybe, San. Did they play for Ipswich? That's what made me think that Murphy boy. Did we not sign
I'm
him?
delighted with that, by the way.
I've seen
Good.
look, Kevin's not alone in answering this. Kieran Flynn has as well. Kev, you've done really well getting Chris Humphreys, but Grant Holt's a Norwich legend. Never mind the
nearly-
Canary killer. Come on.
When Liam said Canary, I nearly jumped into foot with Grant Holt. I went to go for it, and then I heard Crusher. I was like, oh.
The only thing
Doesn't
is,
it?
Canary Crusher could be like the Crusher of the Canary. So I could see the confusion there.
But if you crush
Right.
the Canary, then surely that means you're doing it
That's-
against.
Plenty for use. Okay. Third player. I've spent all of my career in Scotland, most of it in the lower leagues.
Okay.
I was born on the 4th of April 1990.
Why
Really
are we
good
all?
clues, these.
Look at us all
I've
trying to
got a
work
name-
out
I've got a
right. So
name
what age is
already,
he
by
now?
the
I joined Hibs from Clyde.
Oh no.
Oh, Dave Mitchell, goalkeeper.
David Mitchell. Aye, well
Yes,
played.
I was going to say
Harry.
David Mitchell, but I didn't think his name was.
Shout,
Yeah,
Harry.
Well done, mate.
What's
well
other
done.
clues? Because that's our only player I think we've ever signed from Clyde.
We didn't. Oh no, I think under Jim Duffy we definitely signed a few players for Clyde. It seemed to be his go-to club. No, the other clues were obviously me dancing around the fact he hadn't actually played the game for Hibs.
Ah,
That's
So
what I
you've-
was asked earlier. Nice.
Shall we have one more and then we'll go back to transfers?
Sounds
absolutely.
good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Ewan's
Absolutely.
just gutted because me and Craig have got him absolutely done.
I know,
1-1
man.
nil.
Hey, I got
It's
Chris.
embarrassing
I
for
got
you.
Chris Humphrey.
After you were it, you goober.
Oh, but technicality.
Right, Theo. Here we go. I began my youth career at Farsley Celtic.
Liam, I love these clues in the first rounds.
They're really handy, aren't they? Another player who played for England under 17s in 2007, making 2 appearances.
Can I just say at some point, Ewan's going to absolutely know every single under 18s, 17s, 19s English player ever for this game. Sorry, Liam, continue.
Spent all my career in England and Scotland.
Boring bitch.
However, the latter half of my career was spent exclusively in Scotland,
Okay.
where I finished up playing for Hamilton in 2019.
Okay. I think I know who it might be.
As a youngster, I was subject to very high transfer value. No,
Outstanding radio, this.
I know.
I know. Radio silence. Can I beat it?
Can we get a bonus clue?
Yeah, final one. I played for Hibs between 2012 and 2014, making 47 appearances and scoring 2 goals.
Oh my days.
Hamilton.
Hibs player finished at Hamilton in 2019.
Owen Tudor Jones. Just random guess.
Did you say he played in Scotland the entirety
Tudor
of the
Jones.
second half of his career?
Second half of his career. Yeah.
Ended at Hamilton.
English.
Stephen Nicholson's just guessed in the chat, and that's what I thought about, but it's no him.
Oh, you're using the chat.
No, I
That's
can just see it. I can just see it. No, I can just see it, but it's
Get him
no
booked
him.
pronto.
Dan Carmichael was a good shout. Someone put Carmichael in. I thought about using
I
him
was
because I saw
thinking
he'd
him for
signed for
Netherlands.
someone the other day.
Oh, Liam, this is a killer. 2019 Hamilton. Fuck.
He played for us 2012 to 2014.
So when,
Used to be a defender or a midfielder too.
Oh,
I'm thinking
relegation.
centre back, but I can't think of who played for the Hamilton.
fucking hell.
I'll give up.
He scored
I'll give you one final clue.
Right, and Harry
Craig, you're
can't
back in.
answer.
He's another player who Terry Butcher told he was free to leave in the January 2014 window.
Scott Robertson.
I've just seen somebody in the chat, so I think
he
I'm
was
not going to
English,
ruin
was
it.
he? Was Scottish?
I
Fuck's
know.
sake, man.
Liam, can you see the chat? I
Aye.
think Crookie is correct.
He is. Crookie's correct.
Aye.
Well done, Crookie. Well done.
Tom
Well done,
Tyrrell
Crookie.
for those that are listening 3 days later or whatever. Well, that's some January signings or some January let goes. Where do we want to start on the transfer business in this window? We have dedicated many podcast minutes to the looking ahead to this January transfer window. It started, I think we done a Christmas wish list at the start of December on this transfer window, and then have spoke about it every single week since. And it looks like Hibs are going to end the window bringing in one player, a central midfielder, losing no sort of first team player, anyone that sort of played any sort of substantial minutes, as Youan looks to be staying, and potentially offloading a good chunk of the bulk of the squad ahead of when they likely would have went off to in the summer. So, what as it stands at 8:20 on deadline day, Liam, where's your head at with this transfer window?
Um, I'm a wee bit disappointed, to be honest. I just think, the opportunity seems to be there for us to really have a go and go for it, and try and strengthen areas. The only thing I can think is that we just haven't been able to either identify or really go after those sort of one or two players that we think can really improve the squad quality, or actually probably the starting 11 quality rather than the squad quality. So I am a wee bit disappointed. I'm a bit disappointed that there's probably 3 or 4 players that are still going to be here for the rest of the season as well, who are clearly out of favour, who are not really adding anything at the moment as well. And that I think feels like a wee bit of a dead weight in the squad. I think ideally we'd probably have moved certainly, Amos and McCurdy, but maybe being able to send a couple of the loans back. It sounds like there was some interest in Bursick today, which we canned. I think ideally you would let Bursick go and maybe go somewhere where he's going to play rather than keep him around, especially when he's potentially not happy at the situation that he finds himself in.
It's an interesting one. Harry McCurdy seems to be off to League Two pastures, the mighty Bromley. I genuinely had no idea that they were even in the EFL. I thought that sounds like a
I think they've just been
non-league side
promoted.
to me.
I think they've just been promoted.
Craig, does the players that are likely to leave the club, does that in any way make it a better window for you, or just a...
Yeah, because there's less work to do in the summer, so any sort of deadwood that you get rid of at any point, it's just work that you don't have to do in the summer. Don't wish any ill on Harry McCurdy. I think obviously he's had obvious challenges when he's been at Hibs, off the field challenges with his health issues, and it's just never worked out. That's the nicest way to put it. So, see you later.
Aye. General thoughts on the window?
From me,
Yes, sorry, of course. Aye.
general thoughts. Bit disappointed overall. I think as a football fan, it's inevitable to want to see a bunch of incomings. But I think maybe at the moment you look at it and it say right, so it's okay. But I think I just sort of hold a few concerns about our squad overall. I think maybe it could get to a point where it becomes clear that we're going to the second half of the season a wee bit underprepared. I think we could have done with a couple of quality additions while getting rid of even more.
Yeah.
So that'd be probably my main gripe, is that just a slight concern. I think maybe that the slight concern is that the form going into the window has papered over a few of the cracks.
Yep. Harry, I'm definitely going to come to you for that because I think you probably feel the strongest of the four of us. Sorry, I it would be wrong of me to suggest anything other than disappointment if we do only bring in Manny. But there is probably an element of like confliction in that feeling as well, given how good things are going just now. Do you know, like, and it probably does lift your feeling of or the expectation of the current squad. My worry, and I know we spoke at length probably in the lead up to the window, that we needed starters. We didn't need players to come on to off the bench or anything like that. But I think we've still seen players leave this window that have actually still, whilst maybe their minutes haven't been massive, they have made a lot of match day squads, and that worries me in the sense that if we get an injury to Triantis, or we get an injury to one of the current defenders with Marvin Ekpiteta still out, like, or an injury to Jordan Smith, or even, as the season goes on, suspensions could kick in again after the sort of reset. Like, I, I just feel like has been an opportunity to really bring up the overall quality in the squad this window that's been missed, and we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, I felt like this window could have been like a really, really positive one to say, like, it's the new head of recruitment's first window, it's only Malky Mackay's second window as sporting director, and to really build on a feel good factor that's here just now. That, look, ourselves as much as anyone else, we're fickle football fans, and if the results do take a turn in a nosedive, which Craig's been telling us that they have to for weeks, like, it'll very quickly go, well, why didn't we do business in January? So there's definitely a feeling of like disappointing, but also I think I do want to back the guys that we have currently. Harry, I know where's your head at with it?
I just, as I've said several times, I just don't think that there's been a Premier League that's had teams of this bad quality in ages, and Hibs are kind of rising to the top. So I don't see why you don't just kind of throw all your eggs in this year's basket to make sure you get it. Obviously, Malida isn't going to be available every year, and players of that ilk are rarely going to be available. But it's like, I would have liked to have seen us at least try to bring someone like that in. Dundee United have won 1 in 6, I think it is. Aberdeen haven't won in 14 games. Hearts obviously having a bit of a resurgence, but for me, we're the third best team in the country, so you just want to kick on from there and kind of, like, the reason we dropped points at St Johnstone is we had to bring Harry McCurdy onto the pitch. If you have an actual striker that you can bring on with half an hour to go, it doesn't guarantee you a win, but it gives you a much better chance than having to bring on a player that's not scored in all 35 appearances or something at this point. Against Ross County, difficult game, difficult conditions, but again, off the bench, what were you bringing on? Obviously, Kwon's in the middle of a really difficult period of performing. Like, he's just not, every single time he comes on the pitch, he's not playing well, and he's having to start. Obviously, Manny might be this player that'll, like, shoot us on to the form that we need. But for me, it just feels like a massive, massive missed opportunity. Hopefully, come the end of the season, the players that we've got, we can maintain the form. We need to keep the good vibes. Everything's good at the moment, but it's difficult not to be disappointed. I know the YouTube comments have just kind of exploded, June. So if you want to jump into them.
Yeah, we'll just sort of run through some of the I was going to say listeners, viewers are saying. So, David Williamson obviously highlights that the Observer are saying that Amos and McCurdy are on their way out. We sort of touched on McCurdy. Amos, what does it tell you about the quality of a football player that they broadcast their availability for signing on the 1st of January, and on the 3rd of February they're still sitting at their current employer?
It's not a good look.
Yeah, like,
No.
there's like, I
I'd
think
hope just on Amos, I would hope that there would be some form of agreement that he
I
can
think
just
yeah,
leave
there's
the
a
club
mutual
regardless,
consent,
even
isn't
if
there?
he doesn't sign this
You'll get
summer.
mutual consented at 10:59, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
For his benefit as well, it's just not clicked at all.
Yeah, Mark potentially presenting a slightly different view, sort of maybe from what we've said, and he's put a few follow-up questions in there. Craig, and see you've maybe had a wee chat with him on it already. But Mark's saying, I'd rather sign no one than more filler, but I would have liked to see sign some quality. Winter window is a tough one, and he does highlight, if the form dips and no one comes in, where would we go to mix it up? Not sure that Kwon or Kukurevich are the answer. That is sort of the same
Shocking
worry.
spelling, by the way.
Yeah, sorry,
It's really
Mark,
bad.
I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm guessing you meant Mykola with that one. But and then he said we're certainly taking a gamble on not getting anyone in.
Gamble's the keyword, by the way. Gamble's the keyword. We're taking a risk, and I think it's a decision that they've made probably mid-December to maybe cool off on targets. Obviously, they'll have targets lined up beforehand. But I think it definitely appears that we've put a lot of emphasis on the summer,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously is a risk. It absolutely is a risk when you've got that many players going out of contract, and essentially you're going to have probably at least, what, I don't know what we'll be looking at in the summer, 8 to 10 new bodies in the door. That's a risk.
Can I just say as well, obviously touch wood that none of the starters get injured, but if like we get 2 or 3 injuries, then you potentially have like we were a significant portion of the season in the relegation zone. Like we weren't there by mistake. Like we played very badly at the start of the season,
Mm-hmm.
and players we've had 4 or 5 players drop out the team since then, and result again not on them. We've massively changed the system and stuff that's benefited, but we shouldn't have to rely on people that had us in the relegation zone when they were playing week in week out. In my opinion, that should be a concern. So hopefully everybody stays fit. We don't have to rely on them, but if we do, then things do get slightly worrisome, in my
So
opinion.
a couple more comments. Obviously referencing the signing that we did make in Manny. Kev Wilson needs to be the second coming of Latipi to make this window look like a success. I've seen his name in here somewhere else as well. Sorry. And Jason Ladd is man, a more a defensive midfielder. By all accounts, anything I can suggest is that he's a much more advanced midfielder. I think. I don't know what they're called. Is it like a stat bomb or something when it's like all laid out with a
Hmm.
and it looked like sort of he excelled in everything going forward, and his sort of stats for anything defensively weren't the strongest, which of course, well, Liam, you've been going on probably for the last 18 months to 2 years that's almost the opposite of what we actually need. We've got a lot of midfielders that are sort of decent box to box, but nobody that's an out and out number six. Is that the one that you feel would have been the most important for us to get in still this window?
I think a number six or a goalkeeper was the sort of two priorities for me, and I felt like if Youan was to leave, I think probably needed another centre
Mhm.
forward. Sort of, I'll be honest. I think if Youan was to leave, we needed someone who was going to play in the final third with pace. I wasn't too fixated on their position, just conscious that if he left, that would leave really only Boyle with that sort of be getting behind sort of speed. Aye. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I actually forgot what your original question was, in all honesty, mate.
That was
So
just about the defensive
freestyling.
midfielder. That was
Oh
absolutely.
yeah, nah. Yeah, I think it's going to be hard. I think particularly when Newell gets fit, I quite like the balance of that midfield at the moment with Newell or Levitt, Triantis, and Campbell, who's probably in current form probably undroppable. To be honest, it's, I think it's going to be difficult for him to get in the team in the first place, and that probably demonstrates why they found the task difficult this January. Is because it's difficult to
Uh-huh.
really hone in on where are the positions where you can improve that starting 11 because they have been so decent for the
Consistently good,
last
yeah.
10 games. Yeah, aye.
So, I mean, Kerr mentions here, Craig, I just, we touched on it earlier, can't help but feel that an injury to a key player could really derail the good run we're on. And with the league being so close, could kneecap our chances just for top six, never mind anything, anything more than that. And that's the thing. So, I don't necessarily disagree when Harry says that we're the third best team in the league. I think we are at this moment in time. I think we've displayed that over a run of games. But the poor start and the congested nature, not finishing even in the top six is still a possibility. Like, is is that still a very real possibility? Do you think? Or
Of course that is. Of course that is. What are we? Where are we off 11th? Is it still not like 5 points or something?
Mhm.
But I think we've all, over the last sort of 6 months, I say that as a fan base, a generalisation in the fan base anyway, we've all been looking to have a tighter squad. And ultimately, if you have that sort of tight squad and not bloated, there's no team in the world that is going to be able to cope with like 3 or 4 injuries to key players and still be the same. So I think that probably is that's just part of football when you have a reasonably lean squad. We're not going to be Celtic or Rangers where we're going to be able to have a squad that's got
Mhm.
6 or 7 starters sitting on the bench. Like it's not just like that. Obviously, we all want that. Of course you do.
Yeah.
But in fairness, we're all talking about if we get injuries to key players. I think it's fair to say that Ekpiteta at the start of the season we would view as a key player. Youan is a key player, and
Yep.
Newell's a key player. There's 3 right away that are injured at the moment, and we're doing all right. So
Bowie
I
not
think
started the game yet.
Bowie. So I think a lot of these guys, your key players, will come and go. It's just you've got to hope that they're not all at once.
Mhm. Do you think, Stephen asks, Liam, and we mentioned this, are we right to be underwhelmed, or were we overexcited around the money and potential signings since the Black Knights group took over? In short, will it be the summer before the BK money really shows?
Well, I don't know if it's anything to do with the money, because I think, even without the money, I think your sort of general expectations in a January window are to sign probably 3 or 4, I would say, is average for us in January. I've not looked back through historic windows, but I'm pretty sure it was 4 last January, was it not? So we do typically go in. I know it's not necessarily fair to compare it versus previous years, but we do typically do a fair bit of business in January, irrespective of where we are in the league. It's a window which most clubs in Scotland are fairly active in, I would say. We'll obviously be the team in the league that signed the least amount of players. Come 11 o'clock tonight if we don't sign anyone else. So I don't think it's unrealistic to maybe expect there to have been more business than just one. I think particularly when we've had so many players out of favour, and this window we've seen JDH, Kenna leave. It sounds like Amos and McCurdy are going to go. McCurdy, by the way, sound like it's a permanent, which is brilliant. If that's a permanent rather than us carrying his loan, his wages while he's out on loan. And someone else has left. That's 4. I'm sure there's been 5 that have gone. JDH, Kenna. Can't remember who the other one is. Well, Landers has left, but I wasn't obviously really counting him.
Josh O'Connor, he went as
O'Connor,
well.
maybe O'Connor was the other one I was counting. So, we have had quite a few going out. So I think it's maybe not unrealistic to expect there would be more than one coming in. I think Motherwell have signed 3 goalkeepers alone. So, just to give you a scale, a scale for comparison's sake, I do share the same worry that, Harry and others have expressed, that, as a result of us doing obviously a lot better over the last 10 games, you worry that maybe a wee bit of complacency has just crept in, and we thought, actually, hang on here, lads, we don't need to be too busy.
Yeah, if I was so Aki sent in a comment that he's pretty much sort of highlighting his displeasure around the fact that it's potentially the last year that there's almost a good guarantee of third place getting European group stage football. I think next season it's still a Europa League playoff. Obviously that is actually for the cup winners, but if you work on the assumption that the top 3 win the cup, Harry, is that where your main frustration lies as well? That you feel this is as good an opportunity as we're going to get to finish third, maybe for a couple of years, with the potential turnover we've got coming in the summer as well?
Hearts got 9 million this year from playing in Europe, and that was after dropping 3 or 4 really bad performances that they realistically should have won and should have got through to the next round, which would have got them about another 5 or 6 million. Like, I just think it was a worthwhile investment to throw money at players that would almost be a guarantee. Like, that much money for Hibs is massive, and like, as we've seen with Aberdeen, even though they do go up and down so
9
much,
million
like,
feels like a lot. Sorry, does it?
The 5 or 6 million for getting through one round feels like even more, to be honest. I don't know where that came from.
I think that's in euros, but that Scottish coefficient boy showed all the ones.
Right, okay.
Would you got like Rangers have got like 18 million? It's insane. Wow. And then Celtic like 40 or something. It's absurd. But
so your worry would be that
yeah, my worry is, not even my worry, but like just my logic is, like, surely you just spend the money. Like, I can't say who it would be, like, but the McCowan at the start of the season. Like, surely they've got like a McCowan-esque player that they've identified that they're like, this player could potentially change our season and kind of take us to that next step. So this would have been the January in which I would want them to take the risk and spend, like, because obviously it's so risky to buy a player for a lot of money in January, but I just think this is the perfect time to do it, because obviously teams are going to ask for more. But for me, that third, especially whilst it's as valuable as it is, and even if it's not, if like, yeah, and then you've got the summer. If you get there, you've got then the summer to build a squad that, even if you've not got automatic, you can hopefully get through the Conference League playoff stage. So that's the main frustration for me. Obviously, it's all ifs, buts, and maybes. But I think Dundee United, they've been on a bad run of form. I think they've got another few hard games coming up. Aberdeen, they might snap out of it, but we've been saying that for the best part of 2 months now. And Hearts, they've thrown a lot of money. And unfortunately, they are looking a lot better off the back of it. Yeah. So obviously, I'm looking around me as opposed to looking at the club. I know at the start of the season, it was kind of alluded to that let's look at where we are this time next year. But I'd much rather be looking at us sitting in Europe, guaranteed group stage football, than looking at us finishing 5th or 6th and potentially not even having Europe.
Bromley FC, by the way, 3 hours ago tweeted they had a new signing, and I've only just posted the back of someone's head, and I've sent in the chat. I want you to decipher if it's Harry McCurdy or not, because I don't know.
Has he got a bow and arrow on his back?
No, it's just he's got a gilet on. It looks like he's got too much hair to be McCurdy.
Amos. It's his haircut.
What chat?
They give them a buy one get one free.
Oh, is this on Twitter?
Aye.
All right, sorry, that's chat.
This is great podcasting.
No, you keep talking. You keep talking.
People, Bromley FC, have a look
Bromley
at their Twitter
FC.
account.
That's absolutely not fucking Harry
I
McCurdy.
didn't think it was, but it's 3 hours it's taken them to come up with that.
That might be
So-
Tommy Block they've just signed, by the way.
You totally threw me there, Liam. Kev Wilson's put an interesting point here actually that I wanted us maybe to. Does our, as we say, that we always, you say you don't care about Hearts, don't care about Rangers, whatever. We see Dundee United signing Alan Campbell on loan, Rudy Payton on loan. Hearts have brought in a couple of players. Their new striker scored a couple of goals. Who else is around? Motherwell are obviously in a little bit of a different case, but they too, Aberdeen, have spent literally millions of pounds this window. So is it more concerning that the teams around us are sort of, as Kev says, tooling up for the run-in, whereas we're sort of going, we'll stick with what we've got? Is that a bit of a concern for you, Craig?
So can I just jump in? Sorry, because I feel strongly on it. My concern isn't that we're not spending because other teams are spending. My concern is we've not spent based off the fact of how we played going into January, even though it's the same players. Like for me, as soon as it hit October and we were in the position we were in, we should have been mad. We've just got ahead of recruitment. He should have been mad going for players that still would make this team a better team. So I don't understand why we lost that urgency. I get that we don't want to panic sign, but for me, 2-3 months of lead-in going into a January window, you should be able to identify targets and bring them in. And I get coasting because you're getting rid of loads of dead weight and stuff in the summer. But for me, it's just a frustration because if we were sitting 10th in the table, we'd have made about 5 or 6 signings. I don't think any of us would question that.
Yeah.
Just a point of correction. He didn't join till the 3rd of December, so he didn't join in October. So I don't.
I thought it was all earlier than that.
I'm not really sure it's fair to label the January window at him, given he's been in the door for 4 weeks.
I thought it was an earlier than that. That's my bad.
See, God, I had Sam in my head there, and that you have taken me on a total different headspace there. But is there a counter argument? So we spoke last week, and last 2 weeks actually, how we're expecting the accounts not to look very good. We spoke coming out the summer that it felt like we were sort of punting this season down the line. Do you feel perhaps the budget that has been put in for this season, the expectation that has been put in for this season, all the sort of mood musics for me felt 5th to 8th place finish, clear the decks, go again in the summer. If we were to take our football fan hat off and just like, is it that Hibs go, well, we're currently meeting that expectation in terms of the league, but we also look like there's a good chance that we exceed that expectation. Would it be counterproductive longer term to necessarily to maybe throw money at it that we might not have? If we're thinking that the books maybe aren't great. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we've said that we think the CEO's left us in a poor financial state, we're saying that we've punted the season down the line. Is there a case of going, we're happy with what we've got, let's get to the summer, and that is when we'll see the real build?
As the world record for the world's longest
fucking question, I know.
I'm actually struggling to decipher what you're asking me here, to be honest, if you're asking it to me.
Is there an argument to be said
summary.
that we go, this is better than what we thought it was going to be, so let's stick with what we've got and we'll still reset in the summer?
I suppose there is, if the right player's not available. I suppose if we genuinely cannot get the right player, then I suppose that would be a fair argument to have. I think when we're talking about the riches that are on offer, we're talking about circa 10 million euros for qualifying for the group stage of competition. I would suggest that now is the time to throw your chips in, throw your £1 million down that you're going to throw from account on someone, rather than the summer. where there are a host of clubs who are looking to do that.
I think again it comes down to that sort of risk factor. We've taken a risk that our good form is going to continue from now until the end of the season, so then we'll find ourselves up the table anyway without these new signings. I think that's genuinely what it comes down to, and obviously there is the argument there for it, but I definitely don't agree with it.
Yeah, look, I do agree with you both. I think speculate to accumulate and all that, and that would be that's definitely the sort of vibe in the chat that's coming across there. Harry, I think you've made your mindset clear and that you feel like we maybe
want
are
to give
settling a bit.
one definitive statement. Based off the quality of the league, less than fifth would be a massive disappointment to me. I know the context given how bad we started the season, but I think less than fifth at this point is unacceptable.
I think less than fifth would be a real disappointment at this stage. I know we're sitting fifth, but I'll be totally honest. I think the way that we're playing just now, if we didn't finish above fifth, I would be disappointed. If we finished the season now in fifth place, I would go, God, that's, we've probably stumbled our way across the line, a little bit inconsistently. And I mean, then if, like Dave's just put in the chat, it's a big risk, as much chance of coming eighth as there is of coming third right now, nothing between the teams, and that's absolutely fair. And I don't think there's anything incorrect about that statement. I'm just trying to think maybe a little bit more logically and think, have they looked at it and went, okay, this is good, but we still know we've got a big job in the summer, so we'll maybe address it then. But we've touched on Youan there, and I think it's important that as for Hibs fans that absolutely adore that man, that maybe we don't downplay the significance of him staying at the club. It would have been unlikely, Harry, that we sign a player of better quality than him. So just how big could he be? Because we've spoken about players returning. If you drop it a fit and firing Youan into that team, as we've seen, up at Pataudry and stuff, he is a real difference maker in this league.
It's enjoyable to watch Hibs at the moment, and it's always more enjoyable when Youan's in form. So regardless of where we finish this season, at least we'd get some kicks at Youan doing his thing. I think as we've seen in recent weeks, like Dwight Gale's a very good football player, but he's been struggling in games earlier and earlier. So if you can put Youan in there and then have Gale kind of where he's at his best this season, coming off the bench and doing his thing, I just think that it makes other players a lot better as well, which is obviously a massive benefit. So for me, Youan being back and up to fitness, I know he's kind of missed a full month, so it might take him a bit to get back into it. But yeah, exciting times with Ellie. That's almost as good as the signing, because he was pretty much written off as gone.
No, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned it. Excuse me, sorry. After the derby, that we might not see him play football much anymore for Hibs, and we haven't seen him play football since. And we consigned ourselves that on Saturday, Harry, and God, what a way to end your Hibs career, waving the flag about Tynecastle and that. But it looks like we've spoke too soon, Liam. And are you looking forward to tweeting that picture out a couple more times? He's only got the 2 league goals this season, so hopefully more of them to come between now and the end of the year.
And who knows, he might just magically make an appearance on Friday as well. That would be nice. I think everything that I would want to say about him has been said. But if you look back to, sort of pre him coming back, when we only really had sort of Mikola, Boyle, and we were supposed we were using Hoylett and Gale occasionally in the forward line, to now where we might potentially have Bowie and Youan as well as all those options, it is a much more exciting and a much more varied sort of pairing that you can use. So having them back will be good. I think the thing that I worry about a wee bit is just how he's been impacted by, obviously these deals not going over the line in the sort of what feels like not quite the 11th hour, we'll call it the 10th hour, Stoke, Derby and Blackburn all showing some interest in the final few days of the window, and the deal not getting over the line. And look, we don't know the ins and outs of why they've not got it over the line. We don't know if it's just down to the clubs not being able to agree terms, or if maybe the player himself decided that it wasn't the right move for him. Who knows? There's so much involved in a transfer being finally signed off. But I do feel a wee bit worried just that, maybe potentially he's not going to come in straight back into teaming and sort of frame of mind that he was in at Tynecastle on Boxing Day.
You would really hope, Craig, that the manager especially maybe is managed this situation well with him throughout the month, and maybe the club have made it clear what we see his value at, and you would hope that maybe he sort of agrees with that value, and ultimately if it's not met, then he knows the club's position. Do you have any worries around that? Well, for a start, he's missed a month of football. Um, Harry will tell us if he was
Bit of a
injured
case
or
of the
not.
Mykolas there.
But
Uh,
like he's missed a month of football, and then like, do you have any worries? Fitness, um, attitude, any of that stuff?
all of the above. All of the above. I love Youan. And when he's in form, I think he's one of the best players in the league. Petrifies defenders when he gets on the ball when he's in that mood. Uh, but yeah, big question marks around his sort of attitude and his frame of mind when he's going to be coming back, because I think it's clear that he's probably had his heart set on the move away from
Hmm.
Hibs, which is obviously disappointing from our point of view because we want players to be at Hibs, but understandable. So hopefully we see the sort of Youan that we did November, December with a smile on his face, because I mean that was brilliant, purely just to see the smile on his face in the games, and he looked like he was properly up for it every single week.
I'm delighted he's
So
not
if we
so
get him back,
delighted
I
he's
was just say if we get him back, then that's an asset to our team, and it is a new signing basically.
delighted he's not went to any of they feel away. Ellie Youan doesn't belong at Stoke or Blackburn. Do you know he belongs in a nice, lovely emerald green like the Hibs kit and a nice city like Edinburgh, doesn't he? He shouldn't.
I would say that Blackburn are kind of they've had a few like streets don't forget players that Ellie Youan could kind of fit that
About
mold.
25 years ago, mate.
I know, but like we're talking about 25 years ago, we can then look back at Ellie Youan's stint at Blackburn when he carried them to the Premier League.
I don't know. He shouldn't. He's too nice a player to be playing for a Brexit ball FC. And I know Blackburn had John Dal Thomas in and stuff, but fuck, Ellie Youan doesn't play for Mark Robbins at Stoke. Fuck that, man. Absolutely not. Mark Robbins got a tune at Ellis Sims, man. Fucking Huddy. Craig, I believe you've got another transfer related game for us to play. Do
Yes,
you want to take us on to that?
I mean it's loosely transfer based, very loosely. In fact, I wouldn't say it's related to
Oh,
transfers
my
at all, to be
apologies.
honest. Uh, it's the name of the game. It's actually Harry that come up with it this afternoon.
I
Prime
really enjoy him
it's
dropping
called
that
it.
in just in case it's really shite. It's Harry's
Well, let him
idea.
announce his game, you dick. Sorry,
Sorry.
Craig.
I just thought I would give him the credit ahead of time. So basically, it's just going to be a discussion. I'm going to give you a couple of different players, one current player as in the team just now, and we're going to compare them with a former player at their prime. I
Okay.
believe that was the sort of gist of the game, Harry.
So essentially, you've got two players, and then you're talking about their absolute prime. So, for the first one, it's literally when they're at their peak, and probably keep it to Hibs. So, yeah,
They're,
Craig,
they're
on
Hibs
you go.
peak.
I've
Okay.
tried to pick players in the team currently, because it's quite difficult to compare current players with peak Hibs players, because obviously there's a lot of recency bias. But if we just imagine these players that I'm telling you just
Got
now,
you.
certainly the first two,
Rip
the
off
way
the
they're
band-aid.
playing
Get
just
these
now
names in.
is their prime. So first name, current player, Jack Iredale, and I know there's going to be a certain Dave Graham in the chat that's going to be delighted about the next name, Paul Hanlon.
Okay.
So Jack Iredale, we're going to envisage that he's currently in his prime at Hibs just now, the way he's playing. Is he a better player than Paul Hanlon in his prime?
No, not
No.
for me.
Do you think he's got the
However,
potential to get that high? And like the thing is, for me, I think it's a good question because I think that Hanlon's prime wasn't like he was consistent for so many years, and he's got the club legend status. Obviously, he's got the cup and getting like a couple of promotions from the championship. But Jack Iredale, kind of similar, flies under the radar, even though he's in because he's a
uh-huh.
name like he was brilliant at the beginning. We didn't even mention him. Like I think he's one of those players that will like perennially do his job, but
He is very good, but he is in his prime years. He is 28. Like, he is currently in his prime. Like
I
this is
think
for a central defender. This is his best years. I think Paul Hanlon, but and I think Iredale's been very very good, but I still think Paul Hanlon.
How many consistently good spells did Paul Hanlon have, though? I know he was consistently decent. Did he ever have spells where he was like outstanding,
I
which
think
I would
that
put Iredale in just
Paul
now?
Hanlon in the exact formation that we're playing at this exact time of the year under Neil Lennon in the season that we finished fourth in our first season back up, excelled as the left centre back, and it sounds stupid to say that your left centre back is better than another left centre back, but Paul Hanlon contributed massively also going forward in that season as well. Typified with a certain Scott Allen goal in the derby. However, look, Dave's calling this a stupid conversation. It's a game, Dave. All right, it's a game. It's a hypothetical game, Dave. I think Paul Hanlon wins this one fairly comfortably.
The next one, Craig.
Right, next one I'm going to go for. You've got a much bigger sample size with this player, Martin Boyle, current in his prime, and maybe slightly less of a sample size. Ivan Sproul. Basically, I've just picked two pace merchants. That was my only link between them two.
Martin Boyle.
Martin Boyle. Yeah, Ivan Sproul's got a very iconic moment and got me off my seat so many times. But for the end product, Martin Boyle.
Yeah,
And it's not close. That one's not close for me.
I think Martin Boyle, yeah, definitely.
Goal scoring ability for Martin Boyle. So I'll move on. Harry, you're not getting a say on that one, unfortunately.
Dave Graham's just said Pele v McCurdy in the chat.
Did what?
Pele v McCurdy for comparing Hanlon v
Wow, that's a bit
Jack
dramatic.
Iredale.
This is going to be a more career-based one, less so on their time at Hibs. Dwight Gale and Adam Lafondra, both two senior strikers, both sort of had the similar role at Hibs.
This is a good one, by the way. Adam Lef. Oh, so
Wait, can I just start with this?
Of course.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Dwight Gill not single-handedly ruin Liverpool's title charge?
No, Chelsea
Was-
ruined
was-
it the weekend before.
But Liam, jump in there. Did Dwight Gill not absolutely
He scored a hat
embarrass
trick. He scored a hat
Liverpool at
trick.
Selhurst Park and completely, and then was it Luis Suarez was crying on camera?
Ruined Ewan's childhood.
Fucking, by the way, definitely
Ruined
ruined.
Ewan's
The context of that is Liverpool fucked it at the weekend. By the way, bad day. I'm pretty sure Hibs got beat by Hearts on the same day, and we needed to score a fuckload of goals, and Liverpool were 3-0 up inside half an hour, and instead they needed, I think, to get back, and I think they needed to win like 6 or 7-0, like for a goal difference swing. And yes, Dwight Gale then went and scored a hat trick. It's an interesting one for me, right, Craig? Because they both have played very similar roles for Hibs. I would give Dwight Gale the edge in terms of availability, and obviously his Derby goal, which is massive in a very iconic moment. However, I'm pretty sure Adam Lafondra's got one of the best goals to minute ratio in the Premier League history.
He's also got one
ridiculous.
of the best pre-assists. I know that's not a saying that anybody likes, but that against Lucerne,
just an assist, wasn't it? He put the ball across.
Did he put the ball across? Oh, sorry, I did. No, it was assist. But the flick before he put that across him was absolutely unbelievable. And I actually think that Adam Lafondra was probably more influential overall. I know obviously Dwight Gale's got the Derby goal, so that probably nicks it in most people's minds. But I just think the overall play, I felt like whenever Adam Lafondra come on, like he was going to do something.
Yeah. See, interesting, Harry, right? Because last year,
Can I just frame this as if you got them in their best condition in this current Hibs team, so say it was like 26 to 29, who would you rather have in the team for this scenario? I think I'm probably leaning towards Lafondra, just because I think he was a bit. I just think he was a bit flashy. See the way he does. I think Gale's just a proper, fox to box, which is great to have, and I think he'd probably thrive in the current system, as he's shown that he can do. But I think that Lafondra, just as a player to enjoy, I think he slightly tips it for me.
No worries. If you were going with the 27 to 29 range, I would say Dwight Gale, pace and behind. I'm just going to give the viewers some context. Liam tried to offset update button on his laptop and accidentally pressed to do it now. So that's Liam's contribution done for the night, and it finished by describing how Manchester United ruined my childhood. And I can and I can confirm that, or sorry, how Dwight Gale ruined my childhood. I can confirm that update, the alert that he got, because it's literally just fucking come through on my laptop and all. So there's obviously something going on with Apple's servers tonight. Craig, you got one more for us? There's a couple of suggestions been in the chat there if you want to pull one out.
Yep. So one of the players actually that's getting discussed. I've seen somebody said McGeoch versus Boozy, but we're under strict instructions to keep it to current.
I don't think you have to
first
give it to current if you think that's a good debate. I don't think it's a good
I
debate.
was going to
think
say,
that,
Harry's doesn't think it's a good
aye,
debate.
we're comparing Champions League to Scottish Championship there, to be honest.
So,
That's how I describe that one.
well, let's open it up to
Discussion.
to discussion and say non-former players. And it was the first one that I came up with when Harry said the idea to me, and it was Scott Allen versus Derek Riordan.
Derek Riordan. Oh my God. 750 times a day.
Yep. Derek Riordan, what a player, by the way. See him in his prime. Well, not a very sensible guy at times, it would appear, purely based on the fact that his career never went to the heights it should have.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the heights it should have with the natural talent that guy had. But sort of one of the players that I grew up watching, just unbelievable, absolutely blonde.
Derek Riordan, absolute Hibs hero for me. First by sort of remember when he left to go to Celtic. Remember when he scored for Celtic at Easter Road. Remember when he came back. Aye, everyone just what a player.
Do you want a twist on that one to make it slightly more tricky? And mind we're talking prime. Just prime at Hibs, we'll keep it to Derek Riordan or John McGinn.
Derek Riordan.
No hesitation.
Prime at Hibs, Derek Riordan.
Ah, shit. Because I seen somebody else said McGinn versus Brown, and I was just about to suggest that, but McGinn or Riordan, I'd choose Riordan still. I just feel like he's
Mate, it's goals tax, isn't it?
guy. Yeah, you've got to pick the guy that's going to have more influence on winning games, and I feel like probably Riordan takes that.
Do you know what I think's mental? And do you know how like with everything in football, where players get better when they don't play for your club? John McGinn has obviously got better since he left Hibs in terms of his actual ability and his career and stuff. See, when John McGinn was at Hibs, there was boys that were like, he's shite. Like he's no doing it. Like, there was weeks where you'd have folk in the stands saying like he's no cutting it and stuff. But I know I would still give Riordan the edge there.
You imagine you paired McGinn's work ethic and attitude with Riordan's ability.
Oh, I know.
Champions League that.
And absolutely, I could talk about Derek Riordan till the
As
cows
if John
come home,
McGinn,
man.
captain in the Champions League, getting automatically to the last 16.
Nah, he's not going to win it though.
Fair.
Derek Riordan's a joke, man. An absolute fucking joke. I mean, it's got some chat comments in the chat. Riordan not even close from Blair. Riordan guy had an absolute wand and so many iconic moments from Chris. Blair Robert Riordan playing now would be worth over 30 million. Sibo's just joined us and he's missed Liam, so unfortunately, hello the boys. Sorry I'm late. Where's Tolosi Olasanya HSC tonight? Hashtag disappointed. He's just left us, Sibo. He heard you were coming and fucked off.
Oh, you know what's great? Can I just jump in whilst Liam's not on anymore? Are we going to acknowledge the fact that Olasanya single-handedly lost St Mirren 3 points at the weekend?
Did he miss a sitter?
Well, no, they scored, but he decided to like literally two-hand shove someone in the back that got that goal ruled out. Then at the other end, he just like cowered away from clearing the ball.
Right.
And then that's what led to the goal. So I just wanted to get that in there.
So would that not be that he cost him 2 points then?
He done.
Well,
he
no,
done
because
1 point.
Well, because if the goal had went in and counted, it would have been 1-0 St Mirren.
Oh,
That
sorry.
got ruled
My
out. At the other
apologies.
end, he then didn't clear it. They lost that point as well.
He done the same a few weeks ago. It was actually the weekend after Liam suggested him. He dropped an absolute clanger, and I think he missed a penalty. He missed a one-on-one.
Aye.
So see, just because Liam's not here,
we'll feel confident enough. Look, we had come up with a lot of filler ideas, thinking that we were going to be on here for a long, long time this evening. Hibs have got other plans. Maybe that's unfortunate. Maybe it's not. I think the number one positive has to be that Youan's staying at the club. Harry, you were also going to bring us some fun-filled activities, so let's crack on through them because the chat are absolutely loving getting involved in this. So let's keep this one going and see if anyone in the live YouTube comments, as ever, thank you for joining us, can have some even better shouts than already.
My days.
Were you not
Or can
expecting
we?
that?
No, I wasn't, mate. Because at the start of the pod, we said we were just going to do a regular podcast because Hibs didn't
Oh,
look like doing
so
any
you've
transfer
sacked off
activity.
you've sacked off your games. Oh, never mind then. Never
I
mind.
could definitely throw it together quickly.
No,
Like,
it's not a problem.
but-
Well, I had something. I had something planned, and we're going to need to break this up a little bit. It was going to be the top 10 January transfer signings of. We're going to do a sort of tier list, right? But it's just going to be 1 through 10. See if we can get a consensus list. So what we'll do to start with, right? We'll do 3 picks each. So that makes up 9 of the 10, and then we need to settle on a 1, and then we'll order them, okay? So if you want to write down your 3 players as you pick them, who would like to go first, or would you like to do it as a draft order?
You go first.
Right. My top 3 Hibs signings in the January transfer window are, and I don't particularly like this one, Florian Canberry, Marlida, and Scott Allen. That's my 3.
You've chosen two, mate.
Gonna have to pivot, mate. Where you going?
Can you? Fucking hell. Mate, come back to me. I've got nothing. I'm dry.
this is where I just list off random players and you tell that we didn't actually sign them in January. Right, I'm going to go for Matthew Hoppe, James Jago,
Luke Amos.
I'll go Marcondes. I think Marcondes probably breaks the top 10
Okay.
That's
for
a good shout,
January
actually.
signings. Ewan's literally rattled off the top 3. Did we ever get Stokes in our January? No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the year we won
throw
the cup.
Stokes in there. Legend. And then Ken Watt, because he'll slate me for it, but I still am adamant he was class. Just he was right player, wrong time, and he proved it by getting to the Premier League. Harry Clark.
Yeah, okay. Right.
That's a solid trio, by the way. Oh yeah, Hyundai. I've pulled
I
that
I feel
out.
like
Oh,
I've
yeah,
seen
I think-
absolutely
think
done
you're
here,
good.
to be honest.
I think you're gonna get. You had your chance, mate. And I asked if you
Aye.
wanted a draft. You tell me to go
Nah,
first. Well, let me give you some names that
Not
haven't come
prepared.
to mind. Jamie McLaren, that hasn't been said yet.
was Mark Milligan a January signing?
No, Summer.
Oh. Jason Ladd said that McCarthy was a January signing, which isn't true,
Thanks for
but
that,
it makes
Jason.
me laugh. Because he
Mark
was
McNulty,
deadline day
Stefan
on Summer League.
Omionga.
Oh, get away with Mark McNulty and Omionga. They deserve to be nowhere near the names that you've said already, to be
The
honest.
first year, though. The first year.
I'm not having either.
No. You
Should we
struggling here.
just list off the ones we've got so far? Because I don't think we're going to get
So
anybody
we
better
so
than that. We've missed some
right. Well,
obvious ones.
we'll take one out then, and we'll do a top 5, and we'll get this on the road.
Right, so who's
so-
2 honourable mentions? Who do you want to demote?
Well, we're only demoting 1 because we'll do a top 5. We've got 6.
Oh, right, aye.
So we've got Florian Canberry, Maizan Mailida, Scott Allen, Emiliano Marcondes, Anthony Stokes, and Harry Clark.
All right, well,
In the order
good.
you said it.
So Clark's away.
Yeah.
I'd get rid of Canberra. Like,
Nah, Canberry was
Nah.
not happening.
we had a
2v1.
Premier League caliber player playing for Hibs, boys. It's not his fault the rest of the team was pissing. He had Sean Maloney as his manager.
I believe. Josh Smith sent a good one in there. Greg
Who have I missed?
Docherty. I just only got him for a couple of months
Oh.
before.
What about Jackson Irvine?
Jackson Irvine. I see he's coming to us now. David
looking at me.
Williamson's having Craig on toast. Omionga played better for Hibs than Marcondes did in his first spell. I agree. But I
But,
can't.
you
This
and
is
David
not
are
a
allowed to be wrong.
dictatorship. This is not a dictatorship.
It's not a
Sorry,
dictatorship.
David, I'm not having it. Sorry.
Right. What order would we put? Who is your number 5? I think Anthony Stokes is 5th. No, I think Marcondes is 5th out of this list.
Have we gone off for a top 10 of the names we just said? This is
Mate,
an absolute shambles, by the way.
Mate, you've
Sorry,
just
you
changed
top five.
you've changed the context 3-4 times. We're doing a
Aye.
top 5. I think Stokes
I'd
has to
put
be
Canberra
5th.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't, mate. You cannot have Stokes 5th.
He was shite outside the cup final.
Doesn't matter.
Stokes is my number 1.
Right, okay.
Cup final does it.
Right, Harry, who would you have as 5?
So what? You've not told me what 5 players were then.
I have 3
Oh,
times.
God.
Canberra, Maulida, Scott Allen, Marcondes, and Stokes.
I'd have Jackson Irvine ahead of some of him.
I think you fuck me. That's the 5. You
Right,
said you're
Canberra
3.
fifth then. Canberra fifth then.
You said you're 3. You never said Jackson Irvine. What? That's your issue. I didn't like having Canberra at 5. Like I really didn't like having that at 5. But maybe
Well, I didn't like little snakes in the grass.
Right. Next 4. What do you like at 4?
Marcondes.
Aye, I think that's fair. I think he's behind the other 3. Do you agree, Harry?
Yeah, happy with that.
Right. So then the top 3 are probably up for debate then.
Oh,
Maulida,
change my mind.
Scott Allen, and Anthony Stokes.
Alan Maulida Stokes.
Craig.
What are we talking? Influence or overall quality of player?
Whatever you think, mate.
It's just a phrase best.
What makes someone the best January transfer signing?
If we didn't have Stokes, we wouldn't have had the best day of our
I think
lives.
Malida's got
Easy first.
Malida's got to be third because he was part of a pretty shit Hibs team, really, wasn't he?
Okay.
And then I put Scott Allen second, Stokes first.
Harry, do you agree with that?
Being honest, I just think due to the quality that Maulida had in a pretty depressing season, at least we had some life, you know. I'd probably put Maulida second. Like if we were rating overall, like favour of the player, obviously Alan would be above Maulida. But in terms of this question, I would put Maulida above Alan.
But Scott Allen was such a key part in like the greatest Hibs team in our lifetime. Second
Was
half
it
of that
on the
season.
same season that he signed in the January?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye. That was a hell of a January. That was that the same when we got Canberra and McLaren?
Yep.
That's mad, eh? Fair play.
And Scott Bain.
And then he went
Because Bain was part of
Celtic.
the deal, was he? No, he went it.
Aye, but he still came in.
Fair. Aye.
So what are you? I need you to probably answer then on Allen and Stokes. I would be going Scott Allen. No, sorry, I would be going Anthony Stokes over Scott Allen, I think. But my order's all to fuck here. I've went with what yous would go for.
Stokes is first for the cup final.
Right. So this is our 5-1 top 5 January transfer signings, and I'm not happy. Florian Canberra number 5. Emiliano Marcondes number 4.
Boys, we've had some stinkers
Can I
here.
propose a change?
No,
Can I propose
you've
a change?
had stinkers.
Martin Boyle and Egan
Swap
Riley
5 and
were
4.
both
Swap
January
5 and
signings.
4.
I gave my 3.
Oh,
Yous have
CJ.
had stinkers.
What do you mean that we've had
Swap-
stinkers?
Swap Canberra and Marcondes. Put Marcondes 5, Canberra 4.
We've got Matu at 1 and 2, you goober.
I've had a stinker.
Aye, Craig's had a stinker.
Would you have Canberra better than Marcondes? Surely.
Yeah, I'm swapping them.
Yeah, by the way, Hib in the comment section likes Stokes so much he put him in twice.
Right, top 5 January signings of all time, down the slope edition. Emiliano Marcondes 5th, even though he spent a lot of time out the team. Florian
Can we swap him for either Boyle or for Egan Riley? Because I don't like the way you named that, because that's not true. All right, you say your 5. Say your 5.
It's not my 5, it's your 5s. Yous have had fucking howlers here. Honestly, yous have had howlers. Marcondes 5th, Canberra 4th, Maulida 3rd, Scott Allen 2nd, and Anthony Stokes is the best January transfer window signing of all time. And yes, yous did manage to miss out Nectar Triantes, Martin Boyle, CJ Egan Riley, to name just 3.
Right, so name number 1. Did you name him? No, the big man did.
Oh,
the
Harry,
big man did.
fuck
There we
off.
go.
Number 1.
Aye,
No,
Stokes.
I never said Stokes, no.
Aye, I
I
said
wouldn't-
Stokes.
I wouldn't
So
have
did I say I
Stokes.
missed him it?
I wouldn't have Stokes as my number 1.
Aye,
You
as
said-
I always say, you're allowed to be wrong. That is completely fine.
Look, boys, we thought we were going to be here for hours talking about Hibs transfer window. Unfortunately, there's absolutely not a requirement for that. We've been on now for around about an hour and 40 minutes. I think that'll just about do us. If the transfer window does transpire that Hibs only sign, that we only sign Alsana Mane, And as we expect, Luke Amos and Harry McCurdy join those departing the club. Could you potentially give me
Score.
a score on that out of 10, please? Or if you would rather do a American A, B, C, D, E, C minus, whatever your
No, I
preference
think
is.
we'll still stick to score out of 10
Yep,
on
where
this
would you land,
American
Craig?
nonsense. With those two outgoings, keeping Youan, which I think could be absolutely massive. And obviously, unfortunately, with Manny, we've not had the old eye test on him yet, so that's kind of up in there. I'm going to say 5.
A
Not
5.
bad, not bad. I'm not raging. I'm not delighted. Like just right in the middle.
Okay. Harry, yourself?
Obviously subject to change by the end of the season. 2.
2.
That's a generous 2 as well.
I would have
That's
this
just in case that
transfer
Manny's no shite.
window down as a. Do you know, I would join Craig, a 5. I'm coming out of it disappointed. However, not raging. I would suggest. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not so angry that with the business that we haven't done, and I think Youan remaining a Hibs player is an absolute massive boost for the end of the season. Just to throw more shade at us for our lack of Hibs knowledge. However, I'm going to give the listeners not too much credit because they could have Googled this shit while we were doing this live. John McEwen, Fraser Fivey, Martin Boyle, Anthony Stokes, Nicholas Gunnarsson. He said Conrad Logan, but I don't think he was January. I think he was a free agent like February or March. But yeah, look, we don't know what the boys have in store for us for the rest of the season. But what we do know, Harry, is that you will now be taking a leave of absence through to the summer. This is episode 249. At least, and that's not including any specials and stuff that we've done before. I can't imagine you've missed too many of them. Are you looking forward to a break from down the slope and attending Hibs games when you can? Because unfortunately, Southeast Asia's a damn sight harder to get to Edinburgh from than London.
Nah, obviously it's not like not doing the podcast is definitely not part of something that I'm looking forward to. You know, I love speaking to you guys every week, especially when Hibs are 10 games unbeaten. If I do any more birthday card pish, I'm going to get absolutely slated in 2 group chats. So I'll leave it there and say that hopefully I'll get somewhere strong enough Wi-Fi signal. It's 7 hours difference, so we might have to tweak the time for one of the recordings of the pod. But hopefully we'll be able to make something work at some point for the end
Maybe
of the
we'll just
season anyway.
get maybe what we should do is just get like a Harry's rant section every week, and we'll just get you to send a voice recording about 3 or 4 minutes every week, and we'll just clip it
That's
in the middle of the
classic.
podcast at the start, middle, or end, whenever it feels appropriate. Unfortunately, those watching on YouTube would miss out on that. But if you were an audio listener, I'm sure we could clip it in as an opening segment before each one.
If
If
the
we got good
pitch
at
tones allow.
videos, if we got good at videos as well, you could have like I can't remember, like a pitchometer, and then however high pitch my voice goes, that could like be shown on the screen. Aye, sounds like a
Yeah,
plan.
that'd be good. Well, no, I'll certainly miss you, mate. I'm sure the listeners will as well. But you will absolutely be back for next season. I'm sure. Whilst Craig's shaking his head, I'm sure he will miss you. I'm sure he'll
Fuck.
definitely miss you. But look, it was another great win for Hibs at the weekend. Air on Friday night. Your last game in Scotland for a while, Harry. It's time for Hibs to get through the next round of the Scottish Cup and make sure that you miss Hibs winning the Scottish Cup this year, because how fucking glorious would that be for me? Yes, I missed a derby win to go to a fucking chocolate factory, but imagine you missed a fucking Scottish Cup win just for a wee holiday. That would make me feel a lot better.
Me gallivant in your most gorgeous parts of the world compared to Chocolate Factory at
Aye,
the
sounds
Playhouse.
shite, mate.
Come on now.
Sounds
Um,
absolutely shite. Right,
aye, we're
we'll be
dog
back
walking
next.
air, by the way. We're dog walking
We're,
them.
do-
There you
we're
go.
dog walking
Clip
them.
it. Put pressure on us. We're dog walking them. There we go.
Right, myself, Craig, and Liam will be back next week. Hopefully, looking back on another routine win for the Hibees. Cheers.
Cheers.